After talking to hundreds of you guys, I've realized something that I need to get off my chest. It is the men who are actually trying to save the relationships here, not the women. And what's crazy is that most of the women I've actually talked to and had consultation with tell me that their husbands are the ones sending them my videos, and that says everything. 70 to 80% of divorces are filed by women. That is not trying to fix a marriage. That is walking away from it. Most women threaten divorce long before they're ever ready to file. They use it as leverage until the man finally hits his breaking point and says, I'm done. And once he does say I'm done, that's when the gaslighting starts. She flips the script, plays the victim, promises to change, cries, manipulates, you name it. Anything to pull him back in because the control is slipping from her end. But when a man truly checks out, it's not loud, it is quiet, and it is final, and you've lost him. When a good man walks away, it is not because he stopped caring. It's because he cared too long and nobody met him halfway. So if you're watching this, man or woman, ask yourself, are you really trying to build your relationship and save it? Or are you slowly tearing it apart while you're convincing yourself that you're the one being wronged?
Women keep asking where the good men went, as if they vanished overnight or were stolen by a secret society. In reality, those men watched the culture shift, noticed the incentives change, and quietly decided the juice wasn't worth the squeeze. Apparently, paying attention became a deal breaker.
I see a lot of good men struggle with relationships and finding good women. Usually it's because they gave up on dating, because people took them for granted, and now they don't believe it's possible. But I'm here to tell you that it is absolutely possible. You just have to change your mindset about it, and I can help you with that.
Ladies, where have all the good men gone? Do you want to know where they went? They have retreated to their homes. Do you want to know why? Because the good men are the ones that have put in so much effort and had women trash them for putting in the effort. They've had women take advantage of them because they want to be a gentleman, they want to open the doors, they want to pay for your dinner, and you just expect that that is supposed to happen. The idea that you should have multiple men pandering after you just to see which one is the best is atrocious. And this is coming from someone who very clearly wants traditional values in a man and in a relationship. But I am not going to be ignorant to the idea that I'm going to have to contribute something to that relationship too. I'm going to have to put in the effort as well. I'm going to have to be able to communicate and have conversation and be really comfortable with who I am, but at the same time understand that if I want a man to be comfortable with himself, I am going to have to allow him the ability to feel comfortable when he is in my presence. None of this, oh, well, you have to do this and you need to do that, and if you don't handle this, then I'm out. Do I have expectations? Of course I have expectations. My expectations are rooted in having morals and values and being a gentleman and understanding what that means. That means that I am not taking advantage of them just so that I can get a date.
For years, good men were told they weren't enough by default. Not tall enough, not rich enough, not exciting enough, while also being told they needed to prove themselves endlessly just to be considered. Appreciation was conditional, effort was mandatory. Self-respect doesn't run on subscriptions.
Alright, I'm gonna say it. Some of y'all aren't gonna like it. Doesn't make it any less true. Here we go. A lot of really good men are leaving marriages. Why is that? Is it because they fell out of love, or is it something else? A lot of what we're seeing now is men leaving marriages, not because they've fallen out of love, but because they feel unappreciated within that marriage. Now, these guys, they work all day, they provide, they make sure you're safe, they make sure you're taken care of. What do they get in return? A lot of them are getting criticism for what they didn't do, as opposed to the thankfulness for what they did. Men are not like women. They don't need a big show of affection. They don't need a parade. They don't need constant gifts. But what they do need is appreciation, gratitude, respect. What they want to hear is that the person they're working so hard for, or the family that they're working so hard for, to say, we appreciate all that hard work you're putting in. We see you. When a man feels unappreciated at home, doesn't matter how much he loves you. At a certain point, he can't keep continuing to pour from an empty cup. He's going to stop trying to pour into a cup that's continually empty. He's also going to stop pouring into a cup that constantly is looked at as half full.
Dating didn't just get difficult, it got openly hostile. Approaching became suspicious, silence became safer, and one awkward interaction could be turned into content for strangers online. Good men don't fear rejection. They avoid public humiliation with bonus commentary. Romance shouldn't come with a comment section.
So I thought I'd talk for just a minute about this divorce that I'm going through. Because I'm sure, just like I found some relatable advice through here, other people might relate to me. So I was married for 10 years. I got married young. I was 21, barely, like 3 days, 21. Already had a baby. He was 8 weeks old at our wedding. And I remember feeling like my marriage was temporary from the beginning. Like that I wasn't gonna make it. And I didn't know what that feeling was. I just thought it was cold feet, but it kind of manifested itself for the next 10 years. And here we are 10 years later going through a divorce. So he didn't really start this process. I guess it was more so me, because I was always looking for someone else because I didn't know how to be loved or how to accept love from somebody. And so while he was fighting for me, I was pushing him away. But I never truly accepted happiness. I left the good guy. I left the guy that everybody looks at and is like, that's a dad, that's a husband, that's how it's supposed to be. He did the dishes, he cleaned the house, he took the kids to school, he worked all day, he made good money, he supported us. I mean, yeah, we had our problems, but he was the good guy. So I'm here to tell you, it's okay to leave the good guy. Don't stay because he's the good guy. Leave because he's not the guy for you. Leave because you have to be happy. Because if you don't feel in love, then who cares if he's the good guy? And that is a harsh reality that I'm facing right now, and a lot of scrutiny from a lot of people. But it's okay to...
One of my favorite arguments that some men have is, I'm a good man and no one appreciates me, so I'm just going to become a passport bro. Or, I'm giving up on dating and I'm just going to pay a schmags worker instead and have zero aggravation. No, you're not. You're not a good man. You're a transactional man. You expect that if you're good or nice or jump through all of these hoops, you will get something in return. And if you are that kind of a man, then you are. Just own it. But the mark of a true good man or woman, a good person, is, will you be kind? Will you be good to another when that person is not being good or kind to you? Tossing your hands in the air and having a tantrum saying you're going to take your toys and go to a different playground does not make you a good playmate. It just makes you manipulative, and it exposes you as someone who only behaves well when it's for their own gain.
Then there's marriage, where the messaging has been even clearer. Men watched commitment turn into a legal and cultural gamble where accountability flows one way and consequences flow the other. Love wasn't the issue, the contract was. Nobody signs a deal they're warned will fail them.
I feel this exact way too, and I decided I'm gonna go see what they're talking about online. So I went onto the internet and I typed in why dating sucks, and I looked up content by men for men to see why are they irritated with the dating space, and generally why are they not trying. So what I first found is that they think right off the bat that social media is one of the reasons why dating sucks for them. Okay, but what? How? It's because we're on social media, and in their minds, we get so many likes and so many comments and so much false attention through DM. They think that we get so much of that it has given us a false perception of our attractiveness. Another thing that they have been telling each other too is that we see so many TikTok boys on the daily that give us a false perception of what an attractive man looks like. I don't know about you guys, but I don't see TikTok boys, and if I do see them, I don't think that they're like the pinnacle of top tier male attraction. But that's just me. Personally, I want an 1800s man like that girl on TikTok who did the interview. Another thing that they have told themselves is that if a girl likes you, she's just gonna give it up to you. She's gonna kiss you on the spot. She's gonna give you that ooh na na. They do not actually take into accountability boundaries or like comfortability or emotional connection or intelligent connection. No, they just think that we're gonna be like, no. But they don't care what we say. It doesn't matter how loud we scream it. So the response from them with all these little weird reasons is to not fix themselves, but to try to police us. And this is where you see them in the comment sections like, well, what do you bring? You only go for the top 10%, telling us that we need to give the bottom 80 a chance. What they really mean is give the bottom 5% a chance, which is most of them. Did I make that up? Yeah, I did, because that's what they're doing. They're making up numbers. I can make up numbers too. So yeah, they have absolved themselves of actually working on themselves, and they have created all these weird kooky reasons about girls who are 8s seeing themselves as 12s, and in reality, in normal society, they would usually be with a 6, but because of this, they think they deserve an 11. I know you think, okay, well, this just exists on the internet. This is just like these weird little corners. By the time it makes it to the internet, this is conversation that they're all already having in the workplace. This is a conversation that they're having in the bus, in the locker room. It's out there, it's in their heads, and it's in society now.
What really confuses critics is that these men aren't angry or bitter. They're calm, focused, and building lives around health, hobbies, purpose, and selective companionship. That piece gets mislabeled as emotional unavailability. Contentment ruins a lot of narratives.
All women say they want a good man until they actually meet one and realize they're not equipped to handle him. A good man is not convenient. He doesn't bend to accommodate chaos. He doesn't rearrange his values because you're emotional.
A real good man has discipline, boundaries, and priorities that don't shift based on your mood. And this is where women get confused. When you've never met emotional maturity, you misread everything. You call him cold because he won't tolerate drama. You call him selfish because he protects his peace. You label him detached because he refuses to beg for your approval. But that's not coldness. That is self-respect. A man who knows his worth doesn't move from insecurity. He moves from conviction. Good men don't chase drama. They don't chase chaos. And they sure as hell don't chase women who weaponize emotion. They build, they lead, they create order. Most women aren't ready for the responsibility that comes with a stable man, because stability doesn't feed your need for emotional roller coasters. It doesn't scratch that itch for unpredictable validation. For women raised in dysfunction, peace feels boring until you lose it. A good man requires partnership, respect, and a woman who's emotionally regulated, not reactive, not reckless. Stay solid. Good men don't bend, they build. And the right woman rises to meet him.
Instead of asking why men left, the culture doubled down on blame. Men were called immature, afraid, or intimidated, anything except rational. Ironically, that response only confirmed the original decision to step back. Nothing sells reconciliation like insults.
Good men do finish last. And I'm going to tell you why. When a woman finally meets a good man after being neglected, taken for granted, torn down, you name it, all these bad men, she finally meets a good man. She doesn't understand what she's done to deserve this kind of love. She doesn't know how to receive that love. And when a woman is in that state of mind, she is constantly looking for red flags. And when she finds one, even a small red flag, she will cling to it and mentally check out of the relationship, and the man doesn't even know it. And this is where a good man does what good men do, and they will continue to fight and give grace and time, thinking that she will come around, because he has no idea that she has already mentally checked out of that relationship. And trust me when I say that no good man would willingly choose to stay and fight for a relationship
where he is not wanted. Therefore, good men do finish last because they are constantly punished for all of the bad men in a woman's past.
You like assholes or nice guys?
I think guys who are way too nice are so unattractive. It's like such like a ick. But guys who are like kind of dickheads and then they can be nice when I want them to be, that's like, that's
So guys are a dicks, like you think they can change. Has it ever happened? Has a guy ever changed?
No.
No.
This is exactly why there are so many men that are just done dating. Because if they're a good man, they're being told by this type of woman that he's too nice. And she admits she keeps going for that bad boy type that she's hoping to change into a nice guy just for her. Good men don't work like that, and they don't want that. But what they're being forced to do is weave through this toxic craziness and trying to stay true to themselves, all while hoping that by the time that they do find their match, which is also a healthy mindset, that they're ready for her. Which is really easier said than done, because if you've run into this mindset from a woman over and over and over again as a man, it's just naturally going to be harder and harder to believe as a man that a woman is genuinely interested in who you are as a man that will treat her well. And that is what's messed up.
Now the same voices that pushed men away are confused by the outcome. Where are the good men? They ask, while refusing to examine the environment those men were navigating. You can't burn the bridge and complain about the distance.
You know what I've noticed? Women will leave a marriage because they are just unhappy. But men, they will stay through the years of attitude, rejection, and flat out disrespect, trying to hold on to the promise they made. And that's the difference. Women chase happiness, but men fight to keep commitment. And that might sting a little, but it's true. There is a big difference between being unhappy and being ungrateful. Unhappy can be worked on. It can be fixed with effort, communication, and humility. Ungrateful, that's when you stop seeing the good right in front of you. Sometimes it is not that your husband stopped trying. It's that you stopped noticing. You stopped thanking him. You stopped respecting him. You stopped showing him the love you expect back. And eventually, even the strongest man gets tired of being treated like he doesn't matter. Men do not usually give up fast. They give up quietly. And by the time they do, it's not because they stopped loving you. It's because they were done begging to be loved back. So before you say you are just unhappy, ask yourself, are you giving the same effort and respect you are asking for?
So yes, good men have checked out of dating and marriage altogether, not because they failed, but because they adapted. They didn't lose the game, they stopped playing a rigged one. Opting out turned out to be the smartest move.
Can I explain why a man would suddenly tell you that the marriage just isn't for him anymore, and then he gets mad at you for walking away? So here's the thing, okay? Everything for a man is on a timeline. You got to remember, they have got to have order, okay? Now, I'm going to link all this back together for you real quick. If a man tells you directly that the marriage or the relationship is over for him and he doesn't want to be there, that man more than likely has already mentally moved on, and he's already trying to invest in someone else. He has somebody else on his mind. If a man indirectly tells you that he doesn't want to be in the marriage anymore through actions, he's trying to drive you insane. He's trying to drive you crazy. You are trying to sit there and question everything. You can't make sense of anything that he's telling you. This man isn't even who you married. This man is no longer even the shadow of who you committed to. Why? Because he wants to be the victim. You want to know why he's mad when you walk away? It's because that does not fit into his timeline. Because if you walk away, he can no longer build his case to where you're the villain. He wants you to go absolutely insane. He wants you to think that you're crazy. He wants you to drive yourself crazy so that you leave first, or you can tell him to get out. Then he's preserved his public image that everybody thinks so highly of, and he can play that card on to the next woman. See, I told you, my wife kicked me out. My wife, she didn't want to be married anymore. My wife took my kids. That's a real big one if you ever hear somebody say that. The bitterness comes from him trying to be the victim. It has nothing to do with the kids. Most of these men aren't even upset that they don't have to sit there with their kids. I'm just going to be honest with you. I hear guys all the time say, oh, well, you know, I've got every other weekend and I've got this, and then something comes up and they always want to be the public dad of the year, but behind the scenes, they're not. They're trying to play the victim card, right? You took his kids. That is a load of crap. Let me tell you, load of crap. But that's why he's mad for you walking away. It's all about public image, because if he doesn't have the public image and you're sitting there smearing his name in the mud, he's going to have an even harder time finding someone else to manipulate.
Men didn't vanish. They just stopped caring. And that's what's shaking the system. Like, subscribe, and stay tuned for next video.